Hi everybody. Good evening. Hope everybody reached home safely. I got a couple of updates on weather updates at Charlotte that the weather is pretty harsh. So I hope at your side it is good and everybody reach home safely. So today's session is all about 10 things you should know in Microsoft Teams. So before we go on to the session, this is me. I'm Krishna. I have 14 years of IT experience. Out of that, 12 years of dedicated hands-on SharePoint knowledge and all the SharePoint technologies. I got a chance to work from SharePoint 2003, 2007, 2010, 2013, 2016, 2019. Also, I'm working on and SharePoint online migration and various elements of Office 365. I got a migration opportunity from lower environment from 2010, 2013 to 2016 and 2016 to 2019 and SharePoint Online as well. I got a certification in 2010 and 2013 and recently completed MS 100 and MS 101 Office 365 certifications and looking towards to complete Teams certification so that it will be full-fledged. So I have a blog which I was doing off late. I'm not getting chance to do it, but all this while what I have done is all the SharePoint on-prem related stuff. So my next target is to complete with SharePoint Online and Microsoft Teams. Having said that, today I'm going to cover the 10 important things and few of the prerequisite stuff. Having said that, Teams prerequisites, before we go on to the Teams, so we all know that Skype for Business is the main communication channel today for most of the organizations for a better and effective communication. Even today, I know that most of the companies are still using Skype for Business. Even in my company, the company which I'm working today is still with the Skype for Business, and slowly we are moving towards that. But whoever is on Skype for Business, a red flag Microsoft has given as Skype for Business is will expire by 31st June 2021. So request, plan for migration, plan for a better and new environment for the better communication and collaboration. So having said that, Microsoft Teams is 100% productive by enabling multiple services in Office 365 and these are the list of the products which you have to see the 100% result or 100% effective use of Microsoft Teams. They are like SharePoint Online, Exchange Online, OneDrive, Office 365 Groups, Office Apps, Microsoft Team. Most of you know that these are all prerequisites. Out of that, three are very important. In fact, four are must. Without that, I don't see the Teams work. But however, Microsoft Team Stream is something I personally suggest you to enable that, because all your meetings and recordings will be a good option if you have Microsoft Stream enable on it, because Stream has a beautiful AI integration which gives you a facility to go onto a particular presenter as part of this meeting or presentation, which means that it shows you who are all the presenters as part of that recording. And if you click on that specific person, it takes to that very next minute. So it is always good idea to have it along with Teams, because Teams has a beautiful recording option. So when you have a high quality recording option, why not with more features by having Microsoft Stream. So having said that, in my words, if I have to say, if I don't configure all these things, it is as good as taking Tesla without having auto drive enabled. In other words, like I enabled auto drive, but I'm not using it. There is no value. So I can as well go and take Honda Civic than Tesla. So I always suggest just explore what are all the options or what are all the beautiful features the Microsoft Teams is giving before we propose to the client, so that it will be 100% effective. Having said that, these are all the things, and we all know that Microsoft Team doesn't work without an internet connection. So do not think that Teams work offline. And the next one is Teams architecture. Very important to understand before we go on to any further suggestions or proposals. So, however, as we just just discussed before, teams run on few important components. One of them is few of them is Exchange Online, SharePoint Online, OneDrive. Without these three, I would say like having Teams is meaningless, because the reason why I'm saying is when you see the architecture in Microsoft Teams chart, and when you see the chart and channel messages are directly sitting in Exchange Online under user mailboxes or group mailboxes, which means that Exchange is 100% important. And without that, there is no way you can retrieve or you can get your chat messages back. And wikis, as part of Teams, wikis and files will sit on SharePoint Online. So it has to be configured, and moreover, without SharePoint Online has to be enabled. If you don't enable, Teams itself won't get created, because it is a site which get create behind the scenes as soon as you spin a new team. And next one is OneDrive. Why do you need OneDrive, Krishna? I know that files go and save in SharePoint, and why do I need OneDrive? There are there are times where users share files as part of their chat or channel. All those files will go and sit on OneDrive, and that is reason we need OneDrive to be enabled. And when you see the meetings and calls, they are using Skype calling methodology, same methodology, but end of the day, the calls and the calls are in turn getting connected online. So having said that, when we see this is how the architecture of Teams looks like. So I iterate, these are the three elements which drive Microsoft Teams, and the rest of the things what I have proposed just before is Microsoft Stream is an add-on to Microsoft Teams to leverage 100% of efficiency. And next one is installing Teams. We have like Linux also. We have Teams setup. Microsoft Team has client. Earlier it was only with Windows and extended on Mac. Now it is enabled for Linux also. The Windows, you don't have to be an administrator to install this package. But however, Mac has a Mac. You should be the administrator to install this what do you call the setup. And mobile, we have both Android and iOS. I'm damn sure like most of the people on this call might have already started using it, but this is one of the prerequisite. Most of the people don't know that this is one of the things that people don't know, that it is also enabled for Linux. So having said that, when we see the minimum software and hardware installing this setup is 2 GB RAM, and the operating system must have a 4.5 .NET framework or later version of the framework, and Windows must be 7 or later, and it also runs on server. This is beautiful. Windows Server 2012 or 2 or later version, it is supporting Microsoft Teams is running even on the servers, not only on the desktop machines, and 3 GB of disk space for each user profile. Just plan accordingly and install that. And next one is USB 2.0 video and camera. The reason to USB 2.0 for better audio quality. And I have also added one PowerShell script. This has to be executed on the client mission. The simple script which needs to be run on the client computer in the context of elevated administrator account. This is to see the better uses on Teams. Why we have to do is when Teams finds these rules, it will prevent the Teams application from prompting user to create firewall rules. So this is simple PowerShell script has to be executed as per the Microsoft standards. And the next one is deploying the Teams. Now that we know the prerequisites and installing stuff, now the next step is deploying the Teams at the organization level. As before, as part of the deployment, ensure that each and every user is enabled with Online, Microsoft Teams, Microsoft SharePoint Online, and Office 365 groups creation. However, Office 365 groups creation is optional. Most of the organization people administrators are disabling, because when you enable that, everybody is getting an opportunity to create teams on their way. So it is getting more cumbersome and more hectic to maintain. So most of the organizations and admins are disabling Office 365. It is up to the administrator and organization standards. But the above three, Exchange, Microsoft Teams and SharePoint Online has to be there. And of course, OneDrive should also be configured for the user. And deploying Teams was little hectic in the past. Now it is not. They have implemented something called something called a planner. Sorry, Teams Advisor. It is there as part of Microsoft Teams Administrator Center. Teams Advisor is new and which is coming with the new tenants. This wasn't there as part of my old tenant. I have created a new tenant. As part of new tenant, I have notice this, which is really beautiful. It shows that what are all the assessment, what are all the options which are available for my tenant, and what are all have to be configured. If you see that here, Teams license is enabled for my Teams, and Exchange Online is there. But however, the rest of things I have to ensure that it is configured. It here it is not configured. SharePoint Online license is not yet enabled on my Teams. So later I did it. So if you see this here, we have two workloads. One is just, sorry, is that a question to me? Guys, I request everybody to be on mute, please. So there are two workloads. One is chart, Teams, channels, and other things. And the next one is explicitly for meetings and conferencing. So people who want to enable meetings and conferences also, they have to ensure there are 7 things they need to do it. And this will show when you come here and click on view here. It will show what are all the what are all the prerequisites enabled and what else have to be enabled. It is really handy. So it will be easy for whoever deployment. And next thing is, as part of the deployment, admins set various settings. A few of the things which person who is deploying, or the team who is deploying, has to ensure that enabling external access, guest access, team settings, holidays. Holidays is something new. It wasn't there a while ago. It was released as part of last quarter in 2019. And admin can also set the Teams app permissions at the time of deployment, because if you don't do that, everybody will start importing their apps, start doing the way they want, and it gets really challenging if you don't enable, if you don't set the permissions accordingly. And ensure that proper messaging policies as part of deployment. I'll cover what does that mean by messaging policies along the way. So if you see how it look like in the portal, I mean to say that assessment. Sorry, I had to key in the credentials, so what I just pushed out. Hope so you guys see my screen. So when you go on to Teams admin portal, when you go on to Teams admin portal, we can see this new feature of assessment. Sorry, looks like internet is. This is the one I was talking, advisor. When you come here, the advisor is here. When you click on the advisor, it will show all these options. See this? This is the one. And I click on this, it will show all the assessments need to be done. And when I click on here, 8 out of 8, 3 are completed, and the rest of things have to be configured though. This is a different tenant altogether. Don't ask me why, Krishna, why you did not enable the other stuff. I don't want to enable external access, so I did not do that. Guest access enabled, I did not do that wantedly. So the main important three things, if you see Teams, Exchange Online, SharePoint Online, I have ensured that it is there. And another point here is when you are planning for a bigger organization with a bigger flow, it is also giving an option to network planning. Here you can do the network planning, how it has to go and everything. So it is really beautiful. Unlike the bold time where you have to do a PowerShell scripting and you have to rely on Microsoft Teams, you have to do connect multiple times with Microsoft Teams to get how to plan. But now everything is handy. Now planning is handy, and here you can see where are you and how what are the other things have to be uh, configured as part of this team advisor. And messaging policies is something this is what I'm telling you, which I will cover. However, when you see messaging policies also as part of Teams Admin Center, and these are all the various messaging policies administrator can configure at the time of deploying, so that it will be clear and every people won't play around it. So having said that, once we are done with the deployment, the next thing is everyone today Microsoft OneNote is playing a major role for capturing all various notes. However, Microsoft Teams has an option to enable notes, but in the past, notes used to come like this. It wasn't completely handy, and we have to follow a couple of steps to add Note as an app. But now Note has completely changed. Note has got a new behavior wherein we can add Note as simply as a app. Just a moment. As simply as a tab. When I come here, just add it as an app. Click on the plus. Just go here. Select that. Earlier it wasn't like this. Earlier it wasn't like that. You have to create one node in SharePoint Online, take that URL, come here, add it as a new tab here. So now they made it easy as simply mouse clicks and couple of keystrokes. Now if I say that's all. It created a new OneNote for me, and it also gets added onto my Microsoft Teams. It is as simple as it. As I said, like it is just a couple of mouse clicks and keystrokes away. I think like few of you have tried to add Teams in the past. It wasn't that easy. Sorry, no OneNote as part of Teams. It wasn't that easy. And next one is cross-channel posting and tagged communication. What does it exactly means? I have multiple channels, and all the multiple channels I have to send one notification at one go. So before this, if it is in Skype for business, I have to go on to each and every group and I have to send that message each and every group, but not in Teams. I hope that is the way Skype for business work, because I didn't get a chance. So but not in Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams, you can send one message at one go, one message to multiple channels at one go. How does it exactly work? Is when you come here, I wanted to send a message to all these channels at one go. Say like demo message. Now you click on this formatting and say post it onto multiple channels. When I say, I can just select what are all the other channels I want to post the same message. So when I say update, post, it will get posted onto each and every channel. demo message. If you see that, it is just I posted it one channel, but it got published onto all the other channels. And the next one is tagged communication. What exactly that mean? I have a business requirement that HR has changed one policy and wanted to update the multiple teams at the same time, because there is a company which has branches across the country, and the teams has spread in multiple areas as per their requirement, as per the business need or the company requirement. Now he want to send the message to all the branches, teams in all the branches, to communicate with the rest of the team. So this is what have they have to do is they have to find the role. Targeted communication works with the role. So when you see the role is part of the user profile. User profile has to be updated with that role. When you have that role configured, all you have to do is just go on to the channel, messaging area. I mean to say, come here and just say at, and say like sales. When you see sales, if I have not configured, pardon me on that. When I say sales, it if that what do you call it, the capability is added as part of the user profile, it will send a message to all the salespeople at one go. And the next one is read receipt in chart. This is something new added as part of 2019 last quarter. And I think like most of the people got a chance to look at it. It is rolled out, and it is when it is rolled out, it is default enabled for all the people. It is enabled at the talent level. However, if user admin want to disable that, this is the way they can go on to the messaging policies and they can turn it off. Read receipt can be turned off for everyone, turned on for everyone, or user controlled. When it is turned off, it will be turned off. So however, if it is turned on and user want to change it, they can go onto their profile level, go onto settings, and go onto privacy. They can turn off their read receipt. If they turn off the read receipt, it is at their level. They can anyway do that. However, when you enable the read receipt, ensure that the message you are sending it to a minimal group, because when you have too many people as part of that group chat, if it is more than 20 people, it is cumbersome, because it will start showing you that how many people read, and the entire list will come here. That is not that handy to read through the users who all have read your message. Having said that, this is the trying to show you. And user can also say that admin can also disable the option of deleting send messages. Once the message is sent, that's all. The user, whoever sent the message, can't even delete it, can't even edit it. If user want, they can do it. And Giphy content rating and messaging, voice messages, everything they can control from here, all the messaging policies. Any questions on this? This is a new one rolled out as part of last quarter. And next one is multi-factor authentication in Teams. When you enable multi-factor authentication, as Microsoft says, you can control phishing attacks up to 99.9%. As we know, the multi-factor authentication is at Office 365 level. If you enable at Office 365 level, it will by default come down to your Teams. So which means that it is not only at the Teams. I was earlier case, but not now. If I don't want to have my multi-factor authentication at Teams level, I can disable it. How we can do it? It is all the user level permissions and authentication always at the Active Directory, which is Azure Active Directory level. Let me go to Azure and show you what I mean exactly. I'm creating a new user. Now I got the new user, demo user 2. And when I click on the demo user, I have an option to say multi-factor authentication. When I click on multi-factor authentication, it takes me to the next page where, okay, sorry for that. I have used the incognito mode, so what it is asking every time. So when I come onto this page, it will show you all the users. Select whichever the user you want to enable. Oops, this is the user. Sorry. Enable that. That's all it enables. So once it is enabled, if user want to log on to Microsoft Teams, how it behaves is like it will start sending notifications, and they have to use the one of the methodology, like either send a OTP to your email ID, nor send OTP onto your registered mobile number. How it exactly works is, excuse me for my internet speed. Today it is little slow. See, it is asking you to do one more step to as per the organization standard. When I go here, it will ask me to ensure that authenticated phone number. Now I'm just telling my phone number and just will send a authentication message, which is as good as how we configure in Office 365. There's nothing new, but when you enable this for the user, it will be more handy and it will be more secured. I got a message 111742 8. Just verify. That is when it will let me in onto Microsoft Teams. Done. Okay. So this way we can enable multi-factor authentication to use multi-factor authentication at Teams as well. Web Insta. Come on. Sorry about the slugginess. My internet. If you see here, this is demo 2 user. Got you. No. Sorry, I could have given a different name. Sorry about that. This is the demo user which we have created just now. So this way we can enable multi-factor authentication on uh, user, which will eventually give more security for our Microsoft Teams on that tenant. The next one is a couple of steps I have added. Next one is data loss prevention. This is something one step ahead. It wasn't there. If you want to take off the data loss prevention, you can take off data loss prevention to Teams. But ideally, how it works is data loss prevention. We we know that user sends any type of message as part of the charts or channels. There's a huge possibility that send the sensitive exactly. That means if you enable data loss prevention is at various levels. At a finance level, if you enable PCI, if you don't enable this credit card policy on Teams level, I'll show you. As part of this choose location, we have to select uh, Microsoft Teams, which I will show you. But which policy we have to, we usually configure as this is the policy. Credit card numbers or all the sensitive data should not be. If you enable that in Teams, you will see that this message was blocked. But how it works exactly is, oops, sorry. It is as part of Office 365 security and compliance. Under Office 365 security compliance, if you go on to data loss prevention, data loss prevention, click on the policy, and this is the policy I have already created. But how it goes? Create a policy. You click on create policy and go on to the. Oops, sorry. I wanted to create under finance, and this is the policy I want to select. Next one. Okay, I'm leaving the name as is. And now I want to select which location I want to enable this policy. If you see here, it is Microsoft Teams channel messaging. If I don't want to, I can as well disable that. This is a way it is giving, and it is giving extra protection or extra security on the channel messaging. And as well, if you see here, I can just choose which accounts it has to be enabled on. If it is to all accounts, or it has to be on to specific account. If I want to exclude few of the accounts, I can very much exclude few of the accounts. Next one is how you want to enable this policy. It is with the people outside my organization or within the organization. And next one is, that's all. And it also sends a report to the admin or organizer if the user sends more than 10 times. Next one is just review and just create the policy. That is how when you enable this data loss prevention policy on your tenant, it will restrict the user not to send the sensitive data like credit card. And whichever the policy you create, it will ensure the data is no longer tampered and no longer shared to unauthorized people. And next one is configuring safe links and attachments in Microsoft Teams. This is something again as part of the security measure, and phishing emails, phishing links as part of your charts and channels. So what does that mean exactly is that we can protect our environment more by configuring this policy. This policy has to be configured at security and compliance in Office 365 admin level. Again, this is also at the admin level, but however, though it is at the admin level, it can be it has to be explicitly selected. What does that mean? In Office 365 security and compliance, under threat and management area, go to policy and select ATP safe links and ATP attachments. What how it look like? So this is the policy. This is the one I'm telling, like under threat management, go to policy and ATP safe links. Go on here. Come on. and the default I can add. I have added. These are all my unsecured emails or links which I don't want to permit as part of my messages. So when I just add all these things and ensure that you enable Office 365 apps as well and just save. That's all. The policy is applied and user cannot send these kind of emails. And if somebody click on that, what happens is so user will get this kind of a alert message saying like, the website has been blocked per organization URL policy. And the next one is, as I said, like another option you have to ensure as part of your messages is safe attachments. This is the one. So this one, if you see it, it is by default, it won't get it won't get select. You have to select this so that it will ensure that if there are any unsafe attachments as part of that Microsoft Teams, it will safeguard the environment. And the retention policy for charts. This is something really interesting because in my organization, I have come up with one organization where they used to have one public email ID wherein everybody can send any message at any point of time. Like that is at the organization level, people used to send New Year wishes, Christmas wishes, and everything. But the problem here is it will stay forever and ever, and the exchange guy has to set a policy to retain or delete, clean up that email account or mailbox account. But how are we going to handle the same kind of behavior in Teams? Is that Teams also got a retention policy wherein admin can specify whether you want to retain that or you want to delete it permanently. If you admin selects as a retention policy, if user deletes accidentally, it will be retained by admin retained. But if admin selects delete option, it will be deleted permanently for the given period of time. User can create a different set of policy. I mean to say, sorry, that pardon me on that. Admin can create a different set of policies for channel messages and team chats. Depends on the requirement. If I want to enable a different policy on a different set of channels, I can just retention policy. I can create as per the business need. And as part of this policy, admin can select a given set of users or can exclude users as per the business need. What does it exactly means is that if I want to say, as I said just before, there is one particular group, exchange group, where everybody part of the event organizing and they are sending it. For that, I want to enable the retention policy to retain the data or to truncate the data within the time period that I can do. That I can enable, and it will take care of that as per the policy. So when you see how it is exactly looks like is data retention policy. Give me one moment. My under Office 365 policies, go on to the policy and retention policy. Under retention policy, you can create a new retention policy and just say like next. Here you can see I can specify for how long I want to retain the data or delete the data. If I say that if the data is less than one month old, and if I select on top of that and say like example, if I say next and the choose location, as part of this choose location, I can say like, if I want to create onto team channel messages or team charts. When I click on team channel, which channel you want? Choose a team or exclude a team. If I click on choose team, it will show you all the teams which are a part of that. some reason it is not showing. Maybe because it is taking a long time. So basically, this is the way you can enable the retention policies on team channels as one way and team charts as another level. I can create as many retention policies I want. And next one, it will show that what is the policy name. Just say create this policy. That's all. It will create the policy and it will ensure that the data is either retained nor deleted as per the given range. So this way we can ensure that we are not carrying unnecessary data for years together, because data carrying is one challenge, and managing that data for a long time is another challenge. So it is always a good idea to have a retention policies as per the business need, so it will be easy to maintain the data. Any questions as of now?
Is that retention of just chat, or is that retention of files that are put on the team also?
As of I know, when I when I add the retention policy at the chat level, whatever the files are added as part of that, it will be associated by default, because I'm enforcing the retention policy at the chat level. Whatever the files associated as part of the chat will also bind it with the same policy. Does that answer your question?
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Excuse me. And the next one is app templates in Teams. This is a little technique, what you call development area, I would say, because when you see here, it is app templates or something new, very new, added very recently, and but it is very handy. And plug and play, production ready code, and customizable and extendable, detailed documentation support. What does that mean by detailed documentation? Because Microsoft has implemented a set of new app templates for Teams, which are already deployed and tested thoroughly inside Microsoft. And I think like few of the clients also started. I did not get a chance to start though. Those templates are already uploaded as part of GitHub with complete documentation and all the approaches how it is. One of them, one of the template which I really like most is expert finder bot. What exactly that means? As the name says, it is a bot. It is how it internally works. It has an architecture inside the template which is using bot, and it is going through the channels and it is going through all the user profiles. What does that mean? I have a requirement in my organization as part of recruitment. I want to see one specific skill. Example, to say Office 365 skill. I want to see like who are all there in my organization with that specific skill. So if I use this expert finder bot, it will be easy for me, because as soon as I say Office 365, it will show all the people who are tagged with that expert skill then and there. It is very intuitive and very handy, very effective. So that way they have created multiple app templates, and which are very much working, which are tested with thoroughly, and very absolutely free, open source. The word it says open source, the source code you can download, and if you have enough expertise on tweaking the code, you can tweak the code. Very much welcome people who wants to tweak the code as per their business requirement. They can do it and they can leverage that, which is a free perk, I would say, Microsoft is giving to expedite the business and make business more what you call handy and collaborative. And the next one is Whiteboard in Teams. This is something again new as part of last quarter they have released, as of I know. Correct me if somebody used before that, because I started using from last quarter. How exactly it works is it is as good as same behavior in Skype for Business, but they have added additional capabilities of anybody can write on the whiteboard then and there if they want to add it. So it has to be, however, it has to be added as part of the add-ins. under Microsoft Admin Center, it has to be added as part of add-ins. When you go on to add-in, it will be there as part of the add-ins. It's a free add-in, and when you just add that, it will show an option to turn whiteboard on entire organization level. It is just showing the how it behaves, and it is a preview mode. If you see the turn whiteboard preview, it is not yet completely functioned. It is a preview mode, and once it is implemented, it will be available as part of your Microsoft Teams meeting. What exactly that means is, if I come here as part of that, now what I'm doing is I'm sharing my screen. There's a way I can just as well say, where is that? Oh, sorry, looks like I did not activated it on. It was not activated at this tenant level. But ideally, I have tested that it is really beautiful. The whiteboard, when as and when it is activated, it will give an option as shown in this slide. It will come whiteboard. As soon as you click on that, it will give you an option as good as a whiteboard. Every participant of that meeting, they can come and scribble on that at the same time. It gives you a feel that everybody is sitting on the same room. So which is really like, I liked it personally. And unlike as we know that every software has its own limitations, so even Teams also got its own limitations at various levels. Teams channels has limitations up to the thousand people can be part of one team channel. And and the other thing is that messaging, you cannot send, you cannot part of private chat. More than maximum limit of for the messaging is 100 messages. Number of files attachments is 10. Private channels is something really interesting topic again, as part of Microsoft Teams. And emailing to a channel is maximum size is 24 KB. And next one is team live events. You can audience size is 10,000 attendees. It is too much. I don't think like that many will show up anytime. And another limitation is channel names cannot contain the special characters as shown here. And it should not contain the words as farms, corn, all these special characters, because when you see here, these are all something keywords. Farms is a keyword, underscore VTI underscore is a keyword, which you should see as part of URL usually. So if you want the complete details of list of limitations, this is the place where Microsoft has listed out all the limitations. In fact, I brought it from that very same slide. Next one is what is coming in Teams down the line. Teams is coming with the file hover card. It's really interesting. What it is exactly means is a file hover card. When you that is part of Teams. When it comes in, I really don't know like how design works, but the functionality is that when you hover onto a document, it will show you all the conversations of the document. What does that mean? When that file is uploaded, and how many who modified it recently, how many versions of that file, everything you can see from Teams, which is saved as part of your Microsoft SharePoint Online library. So which is really handy when you add it, when you add the when you add that as a tab, SharePoint Online site as a tab, and when you have this file hover card added to your Teams ability to Teams, you need not to dig through how many versions are there, which version is final version. Everything you can see then and there. And the next one is Microsoft Teams real-time presence. This is something I'm not aware of. This is something they are implementing on. And manage discovery of private teams. Private teams is getting this capability. Uh, I'm not really sure like how it exactly works. Again, additional power automate trigger for Microsoft Teams. This is the four key features I have seen they're implementing, and which is going to be very powerful. And next one is testing. Two functionalities as are there as part of the testing phase: multi-window for chats and more. What exactly that means is that today when we are chatting, when we are doing messaging in Microsoft Teams, there is no way I can pull out the user when I am here. Say like I'm here, I have I'm chatting here. There is no way I can pull this out on this what you call Microsoft Teams application. So they are testing on the multi-window for chats. Once it is implemented, like the way how we have Skype for Business, I can pop out and pop in. That facility will be provided into Teams. This is in testing phase. And the next one is legal hold for Teams for team private channels message. It is not only private channels; it is to the regular existing channels also. What does it exactly means is that I have noticed that some channels are not doing a right job. They're just simply messaging or organizing for their own personal use, or like doing some miscellaneous activities. I can put the channels on hold legally. There is a documentation, the documentation available on that. So we can go once you get a chance, just go through that. It is really good. So a quick recap of today's session. What we have discussed is prerequisites, architecture we have discussed, and then deploying we have discussed, and cross-channel posting and tags. Tagged communication is something we discussed, and read receipt for chat messages. Multi-factor authentication, we discussed about multi-factor authentication, and data loss prevention, configure safe links and attachments, retention policies for chat messages, app templates in Teams. These are the 10 things I would like to discuss with you guys, because these are all new and mandatory things which every admin, whoever is proposing Teams and whoever want to excel in Teams, should know. Any questions for me?
Krishna, this is Paul D'Amico. If I may, the application, I'm terrible with names, where you said you can post across teams or post across
Right.
a title.
Right.
That title, how is that set up? Is that set up in Teams, or is that set up in the Outlook profile for that individual?
That has to be organized at the user profile level. As I said, like at mentions. Let me go on to that slide one more time.
Yeah. So the tags posting. So
Mentioning,
if we wanted to
yes,
send,
exactly.
okay. So we would have to have that
So
built in the profiles to have it work across the system.
exactly. Yes. So when you have that at the user level, so Teams will understand that, okay, user A, user C, user 3, user 6, user 9 has the same ability, and now Krishna want to send a message to those 4 users or 3 users, when as and when I say like at Office 365. So it will send a message to all the people with the capability as Office 365. Hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
Any more questions? Thank you all. Thank you for your time. Feel free to share your feedback on Meetup. Thank you for your time one more time.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night.